The story I'm about to tell you happened to me when I was around 7 years old. I remember it like it was yesterday, even though it's been over 15 years. We had just moved into a new house. It was one of those quiet suburban neighborhoods where everybody's lawn is a little too perfect. My parents were excited. They said it was a fresh start. Bigger house, safer area, good schools, the kind of place you're supposed to grow up in. My little brother and I got our own rooms upstairs, which felt like a big deal at the time. My parents had the master bedroom downstairs, right off the kitchen. The layout was simple: stairs leading up to a narrow hallway, my room at the end, and my brother's across from mine. The first couple of nights were completely normal. No weird noises, no bad dreams, nothing out of place. It all started on the third night. I woke up suddenly, like I'd been pulled out of sleep. I didn't know what time it was, but I remember the feeling, that heavy, suffocating stillness. The air felt thick in my room, like I was breathing through a blanket. I turned my head toward my bedroom door. I always slept with it slightly cracked, and my parents kept a nightlight plugged into the hallway outlet, so a faint glow spilled into my room. At first, my brain didn't understand what I was looking at. In the doorway, it was just darker. A shape within the darkness, standing right by the door. Then I realized what I was seeing. A figure, tall, completely still, just standing there. It had the shape of a person, but it wasn't. I could tell that immediately. There were no features, just a silhouette that somehow seemed darker than everything else in the room. But what stuck with me, what I'll never forget, was the hat. A wide-brimmed hat, like a fedora, the kind you'd see in old movies. It didn't move, it just stood there, angled slightly toward me. Watching, my whole body went cold. Not frozen, I could move, but every instinct in me was screaming that something was wrong. Really wrong. I pulled the blanket up to my chin and stared at it, hoping it would disappear if I blinked enough. It didn't. I remember finally screaming, yelling for my parents as loud as I could. The second my dad opened the door and flipped on the light, it was gone. Not like it walked away. Not like it faded. It was just gone. My mom rushed in, asking what happened. My dad checked the closet, looked under the bed, even stepped into the hallway like he expected to find someone. I told them everything, about the figure, about where it was standing. They exchanged that look parents give each other when they don't want to scare you more than you already are. My dad said it was probably a bad dream. My mom mentioned something called sleep paralysis, but I told them over and over, I could move. I sat up. I screamed. I wasn't stuck. Still, they didn't have another explanation. The next day, my mom bought me a nightlight for my room, one of those plug-in ones with a soft yellow glow. She said it might help me feel safer. I didn't want to sleep much after that. I'd lie there, staring at that nightlight like it was the only thing keeping me grounded. Eventually, I drifted off. And then I woke up again. I remember staring straight up at my ceiling, at those glow-in-the-dark stars glued to it. That feeling that something else was in the room came back. I knew it was happening again. I didn't want to look at the door, but I did. And there he was, the Hat Man. It took me a second to realize something was wrong with the nightlight. It was still on, but barely. The glow was so faint it was almost gone, like something was draining it. The light didn't reach the corners of the room anymore. It barely reached the edge of my bed, and the darkness felt thicker because of it, like it was swallowing the light whole. The figure didn't move. It just stood there, facing me. I pulled the covers over my head as fast as I could, tucking them tight around my body. I remember shaking, trying to convince myself it wasn't real, that if I stayed under the blanket, it couldn't see me. I held my breath. A few seconds passed, maybe more. Then I felt it. A tug. At first it was light, barely noticeable, like the blanket shifting. Then it happened again. Stronger. Something was pulling at the covers. I grabbed them tighter, clutching them under my chin. My whole body tensed as I tried to hold on. What I'm about to tell you was the most disturbing part. At the top of my blanket, right in front of my face, long black fingers slowly curled over the edge. They tightened their grip, and then it pulled the covers away from me completely. Suddenly, I was exposed. I wish I could say it was gone, but it wasn't. Now it was closer, standing right beside my bed, looking down at me. I could feel it. Even without a face, I knew it was staring directly at me. The hat tilted slightly forward, casting even deeper darkness where a face should have been. It didn't move. It didn't speak. It just stood there, watching. I remember screaming until my throat hurt, crying, thrashing, trying to get away, but there was nowhere to go. And then, just like before, my bedroom light flicked on. My parents rushed in, and it was gone. Again. But this time, I didn't feel relief, because I knew something they didn't. It hadn't just been at the door anymore. It had been right next to me, and whatever that thing was, it wanted me. After that night, I refused to sleep in my room. I stayed with my parents for weeks. Eventually, they convinced me to go back upstairs, but I never slept the same way again. Even now, as an adult, I can't sleep in complete darkness, because every once in a while, I get that same feeling, that heavy, suffocating stillness, and I can't shake the thought that if I open my eyes at the wrong moment, I'll see that silhouette again, standing quietly in the corner, wearing that hat.